Hey guys, it's Allie.
It's Melissa.
And producer Maria. And I don't know if you guys know this, but the Erio show, The Margaret Cho, is doing something really cool for March.
It's called Mortal Minorities.
It is going to be running all through March.
And if you like celebrity guests and true crime and Margaret Cho,
You're going to love it. So check out this trailer.
Hi, everyone. It's Margaret. You know, I am true crime obsessed, and I'm so excited because we are doing Mortal Minority March here at the Margaret Cho. For all of March, I'll be sitting down with a comedian guest like Robin Tran, Alec Mapa, or Brent Weinbach to talk about one of my favorite subjects, minorities who kill.
You think you have the potential to be a serial killer?
No, but I think I could get killed. If you're Asian American
and you want to blend in and disappear,
just go to Hawaii.
You're going to go to Hawaii.
Just go to Hawaii.
They'll never find you.
The electric chair would just be the worst.
I also wonder what it looks like with your hair. Like, does it like poof up?
I feel like there's a preventative measure to this podcast as well. If you're an Asian and has a younger sibling and you want them to kill your boyfriend, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't miss Mortal Minority March. Subscribe to The Margaret Cho on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen.
An Erios original.
Hello and welcome.
Say it's your birthday.
That was so loud because my headphones were turned all the way up.
The rumors are true. It is my birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Cha-cha-cha.
Happy birthday to you.
Should be washing our hands
Yeah.
at the same time.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, that's how long you're supposed to do it for.
Twice happy birthday.
Will the Pukwudgie sing me a little bit of happy birthday?
Happy birthday to you.
That's nice.
Cute.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear
Mr. President.
Ali. Happy birthday to you.
I like that little pizzazz.
Why did that give
you
me
added on
chills?
there.
I don't know why.
That
It
was
was
nice.
weird. It was oddly sexual.
Happy birthday, Ali.
Oh, fuck you. Welcome to Web Crawlers, the podcast where we do a deep dive into some of our favorite unsolved mysteries. Each week, we will introduce our topic, lay out our research and findings. By the way, when I came into the studio today, Melissa and Maria had decorated, and it was so sweet. And also, they had given me all of my favorite products from 7-Eleven, which is my favorite store. Red Bull, Creamy Ranch Doritos, Oreos, and Scratchers, and I won $8. And they said I could keep it.
Yeah. Well, you got to pay half to Erios.
Yes, that is true. Half
It's
goes
in
to
your
Erios.
contract.
That is true. They own the IP. We lay out our research and findings, reveal some conspiracy theories, and conclude with our own hypothesis. Who knows? We might even solve the case. I am Allie Siegel.
I'm Melissa Stettin.
Web Crawlers has a Patreon to get access to rewards, bonus episodes, shout-outs, merchandise discounts, and in-studio videos where you can see that it's my birthday.
Oh, you can see all the decorations.
You can see the
in
decorations.
studio.
Also, you can see that I dyed my hair yellow, and I thought that it was going to wash out, and now it's just permanently neon yellow like the Joker.
Oops.
My bad. Donate as little as $2 a month to become one of our bimbo patrons. For merch, Melissa, where can people go?
You can go to webcrawlerspod.com or hothorse.horse.
If you are nasty and our Erios hotline, we have gotten
A jingle.
so we'll insert the jingle here.
Yes.
I guess.
626-604-6262.
But also, I was going to say, we've gotten so many messages. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Also, you're all high.
It's surprising.
About
Actually, no, it's not surprising.
it's not surprising, but
It's
about
not.
half of the messages all say, sorry, I'm high at one point
We're
during
a
the message.
stoner podcast.
You guys are all stoners, and we love that about you. But just all of our listeners are drug addicts.
But our jingle is from Joran Kane.
Yes, and thank you so much for
Yeah,
that.
if you want to go to his website, jorankane.bandcamp.com.
Or hothorse.horse.
Or hothorse.horse.
If you're nasty.
Thanks for the jingle.
Thank you for the jingle. Melissa, who are our patrons?
We have Bianca B, Erica S,
Cool.
Jane S, Suzanne K,
Nice.
Allison G.
Spelled with 2 L's, not one.
Yeah,
So
sorry.
we're still friends. Okay. What is our topic for today, Melissa?
Our main topic is the Texas killing fields.
Ooh.
So since the early 70s, a desolate strip of land in Texas.
Just like my vagina.
Oh, a desolate strip of Allie's vagina in Texas has become synonymous with missing and murdered women.
I take that back.
I don't like that laugh. 30 bodies have been found in this remote wasteland.
Oh, no.
It's known as the Texas killing fields. So why has this area become a dumping ground for murderers?
Okay, well, that is like my vagina.
That's true. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
A huge development in 2 cold cases from the so-called killing fields in Galveston County decades ago.
It is a murder mystery that we've been following for decades now. Women killed and dumped in the so-called killing fields in League City.
One of the longest-running real-life mysteries in Houston's history.
So what are these fields? So the Texas Killing Fields is an area in southeast Texas bordering the Calder oil field. It stretches 25 miles between Houston and Galveston. The fields are part of a 50-mile stretch on Interstate 45, which is known as the Highway of Hell.
Sick.
Since the early 1970s, 30 bodies of murder victims have been found within the Killing Fields area. They were mainly the bodies of girls or young women.
Oof.
Many young girls have disappeared from this area, and the girls' bodies, if they are in fact dead, are still missing.
A lot of missing women.
Tons. It's believed that many of the murders are the work of multiple serial killers.
Yeah.
Most of the victims were aged 12 to 25.
Oof.
Some shared similar physical features, such as similar hairstyles. And despite exhaustive efforts by the League City, Texas police, along with the FBI, very few of these murders have been solved. And those that have were confessed from prison or forced from the police.
Yeah, which is weird.
Yeah, the fields have been described as a perfect place for killing somebody and getting away with it. You can see the oil refineries and the I-45. But if you yelled, no one would hear you. And if you ran, there's nowhere really to go.
Oof. The first victim went missing on June 17th, 1971. Her name was Colette Wilson. She was 13, and she went missing after getting off a bus after school. Her body was found 5 months later with a gunshot to the head. The police had a few suspects, but didn't have enough evidence to charge anyone. Less than a month later, Brenda Jones, 14, was last seen on her way to visit her aunt. Her body was found in Galveston Bay a day later. Side note, Galveston Bay is where Robert Durst dumped the torso of Morris Black, his neighbor and friend.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yep.
A month after Brenda was found, Rhonda Johnson, 14, and Sharon Shaw, 13, were last seen walking in Galveston, and their remains were found 5 months later in a marsh. Weird, this 5 months thing. 4 more girls went missing that year, and the disappearances continued through the 80s and 90s. Bodies were found, cars were abandoned, but no one was ever charged. And there was a lot of notable cases. In 1982, 15-year-old Michelle Garvey left her home in Connecticut, possibly through her bedroom window. She's believed to have hitchhiked, but it's unclear how she ended up in Texas. Her body was found a month after she disappeared and only hours after her death. Authorities were unable to identify her body, but could determine that the victim was a white female between 15 and 20 years old with blue eyes and curly red hair. The cause of death was strangulation. She was buried near 2 other unidentified murder victims. There was evidence that she had been sexually assaulted. No bra or shoes were recovered, and the shirt had also been unbuttoned. For nearly 20 years, no one knew the body was Michelle's. They exhumed the body in 2011 to run DNA tests, including comparing the DNA to Michelle's brother. An amateur online sleuth, Polly Penwell, came across the cases of Garvey and the unidentified body and suggested to the National Center for Missing and Exploiting Children that they could be the same person after she compared both cases while researching them on Web Sleuths.
Yeah.
Is that a podcast? What is that?
No, Web Sleuth is a website.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've been on there multiple times. It's a lot of like amateur sleuths, like just talking about like murders and missing people. And
I'm probably dumb for not knowing what that is, right?
This is crazy, though. I just typed in Polly Penwell. She has autism and a passion to solve cold missing persons cases. And she's just this woman that just spends her time figuring out murders.
We should have her on.
Crazy. Yeah, she compared, I guess, the photos to this missing body and was like, this is probably her. And she solved the case. It's pretty amazing.
A one-woman CSI unit.
That's so cool.
That's awesome.
Wow. Yeah, Polly Penwell, considered, this is from Northern Express website. Oh no, that's just the date. That's just the date today. I was like, this article was written today. It says Polly Penwell considered herself separated from the outside world. As a grown woman with autism, she is isolated and doesn't leave her house much.
Oh, wow.
But she's become a one-woman crime solver unit, solving crimes long considered cold by authorities. She's solved cases that eluded authorities for 3 decades.
Wow.
They could be the same person. Michelle was officially identified in 2014, 31 years after she died, thanks to Polly Penwell.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so another case is Crystal Jean Baker. Her great aunt was Norma Jean Baker, who we all know as Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in 1996, Crystal Jean Baker left her grandmother's house during a fight they were having, and Crystal was last seen using a phone at a local convenience store to apologize and ask family to come get her. But 2 hours later, her body was found. She was raped, strangled, and dumped over the I-10 Trinity River Bridge.
So far, how many is this? This is 1.
Help her out, Melissa.
3,
4, 5, 6, 7.
7 so far.
Yeah, there's
Nuts.
At least 30, I think.
Oh my God.
There's also Debbie Ackerman and Maria Johnson in 1971, which is the same year as all the other ones so far.
Yeah.
These two reportedly outdoorsy gals disappeared while hitchhiking, only to have their bodies discovered in the killing fields. One man, Edward Harold Bell, who's a convicted sex offender and murderer, claims to have killed Debbie and Maria, along with many of the other girls found in the fields. But he claims that he was brainwashed into committing the crimes.
Like, what does that even mean?
Yeah, we'll talk about him a little more later, too. And then in letters written from a maximum security cell, 17 years after the crime, Bell described killing the girls. He said, "I was brainwashed into killing Debbie and Maria in November 1971. And he then goes on to describe how he shot them and the place where their bodies were discovered. So interesting. Yeah. Then there's Georgia Gear and Brooks Bracewell. They vanished from a school bus trip in 1974 after their fellow students heard them discussing their plan to skip school that day. So these two girls, they were 14 and 12. They were the victims of some of the most brutal violence to occur in the killing fields. When their bodies were discovered 2 years later, it was obvious that they had been bludgeoned to death before being shot.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Next, there's Lynette Bibbs and Tamara Fisher. This happened in February of 1996. Their bodies were discovered days after they'd just been left in a rural lot, and their murder remains unsolved, like several of the other ones. Mm-hmm. Then there's Heidi Villarreal Fye. She was a 23-year-old cocktail waitress. She disappeared in 1983. We're jumping around time-wise a bit. She was missing for months until one day someone's dog carried a human skull to a nearby house in 1984. And, of course, those people called the police. And then the medical examiner traced the body back to Heidi Fye. It was also noted that Heidi had a lot of broken ribs, so possibly she was beaten to death.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Then there's Shelley Sykes. She was also a waitress at Gato's restaurant at the Galveston Seawall in 1986. She was run off the road by John Robert King, who had been drinking all day.
Cool.
Yeah. Then Sykes' car was found next to the Interstate 45. Her body was never found. King confessed to the crime from a motel in El Paso, but with no kind of body and no evidence, they weren't able to formally charge him, which is weird. If someone's like, I killed this person, I guess that's true.
I guess there's no evidence. There's no body.
If there's no body and nothing.
Yeah, how do you... So there's Laura Miller. She disappeared from League City in September 1984 while she was taking a quick trip to a convenience store to use a payphone. She was presumed missing until 7 years later when police discovered her body while searching for clues about a Jane Doe whose remains were discovered near Miller's body. Due to her body's deterioration, her cause of death is yet to be determined. In 1986... 2 boys riding dirt bikes in League City, Texas, became sickened by a smell, and they found the 2 bodies of Laura Miller and 30-year-old Audrey Cook. And then 5 years later, in 1989, a group of horseback riders came upon another decomposing body as they roamed the area where the other bodies had been found, and it was the body of 34-year-old Donna Prudhomme. And the last murder happened in 2006. So they, I believe, have stopped since then.
I wonder why.
16-year-old Teresa Venegas was last seen walking near the Green K subdivision on Halloween night.
Oh, boy.
3 days later, her body was found strangled and raped in a field across from Dickinson High School. So all 30 of these disappearances and murders went unsolved until a breakthrough in 2012. So 45-year-old Kevin Edison Smith was arrested and convicted of murdering Crystal Jean Baker in 1986. He was linked to the crime after he had been arrested on a drug charge in Louisiana in 2010. So at about the same time, a detective tested Crystal Baker's dress for DNA, and a match was confirmed using advanced technology that was not available at the time of Crystal's disappearance. So a jury deliberated for about 30 minutes, and they found Smith guilty. So he was sentenced to life in prison.
And then William Lewis Reese, a 50-year-old Texas man, had been named a suspect in 4 of the murders and was charged with 3 of them. He had been charged in the murders of Tiffany Johnson, who was 19, Jessica Kane, who was 17, and Laura Smither, who was 12. He's suspected but not charged in the death of Kelly Cox, who was 20. He's serving a 60-year sentence for kidnapping when he led police to the remains of Jessica Kane and Kelly Cox in 2015. So he was already in prison when...
Yeah.
That doesn't count as double jeopardy, right? Because it's other...
No, it's a new
one.
New crime, I believe.
That's a good movie, though. A local gas station attendant and sex offender, Michael Self, was asked to come to the police station for questioning. He said he was held in confinement for hours and couldn't leave until he made a confession. That's illegal.
Yes, it is.
He said he was held against a wall, hit with a nightstick, and taunted by a police officer with his pistol who threatened to kill him if he did not confess. Self eventually agreed to confess, and he was forced to handwrite a confession to the murders of Shaw and Johnson. Dave Coburn, a local investigator, corroborated Self's story by claiming to have witnessed Morris treat a prisoner exactly the same way a year prior.
Damn.
But I feel like that wouldn't stand up. The final signed confession by Self contains several discrepancies. Self stated he had dumped Shaw and Johnson's bodies in El Lago, which was 20 miles from the marsh where police discovered the remains. Self also wrote that he had strangled both girls to death, though reports from the medical examiner show no evidence of strangulation. His trial began on May 15, 1973, and concluded on September 18, 1974. He was charged with first-degree murder of Sharon Shaw and sentenced to life imprisonment. Yeah. That kind of sucks. I don't think he did it.
Well, yeah. So 3 years later, in 1976, after this trial, Chief Don Morris and Deputy Tommy Deal, both of whom had worked on Self's case, were arrested and charged with multiple bank robberies dating back to 1972. So they were corrupt cops.
Yeah.
So Morris was sentenced to 55 years in prison and Deal was sentenced to 30 years.
Fuck.
And then Michael Self was denied parole multiple times. And then he eventually died in prison of cancer in 2000. So these
Well, I guess he
corrupt
was a
cops-
sex offender, though, right?
Yes.
So he was already convicted as a sex offender
Yes.
aside from this?
Yes.
So that's bad.
That is bad, but I don't think he...
Kill these people.
Yeah.
Okay.
So on April 2nd, 1980...
He's not a hero.
He's not a hero, but he's not a murderer.
He's not a murderer.
In between, somewhere
Yeah.
in between.
Sounds like me.
Yeah, I was going to say, like Maria. Yeah, it's
Not a hero,
but not a murderer.
It's a normal sex offender.
Yeah, just a normal...
Just your normal kind of sex offender.
No.
It's your average, above average sex offender.
Above average, everyday sex offender.
So on April 2nd, 1980, a man in Taylor Lake, Texas, walked into the local police department and claimed to have been responsible for 2 murders. In his confession, the man said he tied the girls down with electrical cord, a detail that had not been released to the public.
Oof.
So the man, apparently suffering from psychosis, was eventually dismissed by the police, despite his mention of the electrical cord, as well as the fact that he lived in close proximity to one of the victims.
I feel like if he was suffering from psychosis, that would be like more evidence that he did it.
It's weird that he knew this detail.
Yeah.
And they were like, whatever, he's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I would be like, yeah, he's crazy. He probably killed people.
Yeah. So then there's Edward Harold Bell. He was already a Texas inmate serving a 70-year sentence for the murder of Larry Dickens, who's an ex-Marine from Pasadena, when in 2011, he told the Houston Chronicle that he had committed a string of other homicides. He said he abducted and murdered girls as young as 12 who had disappeared from Galveston between 1971 and 1977. So he called the girls the 11 who went to heaven. Yeah. But he was never prosecuted for any other murder besides that of Dickens, whom he shot and killed in 1978. And he shot Dickens several times with 2 different guns minutes after Dickens confronted him, a serial sex offender who had just exposed himself to a group of neighborhood girls.
A lot of sex offenders.
Yeah, so tips that finally led to his arrest poured in after Bell became the subject of a 1992 Unsolved Mysteries episode.
This is a fun fact. Buckle up.
The show featured Matthew McConaughey as Dickens in the actor's first TV role. I watched this episode. It's on YouTube.
Really?
And how's Matthew?
He's great.
His first TV role ever.
Yeah, so from this episode, this guy was found and arrested.
And Matthew, what's the opposite of plummeted?
Rose?
Skyrocketed.
Skyrocketed to success.
This is the guy. Yeah, he also claimed he was brainwashed and forced to kill by a secret organization.
What secret organization is brainwashing all these quote-unquote killers?
The CIA, probably.
Wait, do you think that this was during MK Ultra? A lot of these were in the...
He said it was called The Program.
Oh.
Do you think it was AA? I'm just kidding.
He just died in prison in 2019.
Program 70s. For some reason, the dating game keeps coming up when I Google.
Oh, because wasn't there a serial killer on the dating game?
There was?
Yeah, contestant on dating game show turned out to be a serial killer.
What?
Yeah.
That's who you would pick.
100%.
I want to ask one more question to Ted.
Yeah. 100%.
If we were on a first date, what would you cook me?
Yeah.
The Alcala, sometimes known as a dating game killer because his 1978 appearance on the dating game in the midst of his murder spree.
He just had time to plop on TV. What is he, crazy?
Rodney Alcala.
Rodney. Let's see if
Oh
he's
my
hot.
God.
Rodney. This guy is hot. This guy is hot as hell. Wait, hold on.
Out of your mind?
That's a bad picture. That's a bad picture.
That guy is creepy as hell.
Oh, I like his face.
I like his face too. He looks hot as an old man. He kind of looks like a Weird Al, no?
Oh my God. Weird Al. Oh my God.
That guy's hot. I would choose him on the dating.
Well, you wouldn't be able to see him.
Yeah.
Why? Is that how it worked?
Well, they're divided. It's like Love is Blind.
Oh, it's like Love is Blind?
Yeah.
You were in a pod?
You weren't in a pod. You were just
on separate sides.
Number one.
I look like the type of girl he would murder.
Oh yeah.
He would definitely murder me if we went on a date.
Stunning blonde.
Yeah, stunning blonde. Well,
damn.
good thing I got out of that one. You tell me if you saw this guy getting coffee in Silver Lake,
Which, with the mustache?
that's him now. That's him now on
What-
a parole hearing.
I'd say, excuse me, sir, can you move over? I'm ordering.
Really?
What would you do?
Would you
I'd
ask
be-
him on a date?
I would be like, hello.
What's your deal?
Yeah, I would check for a wedding ring if I saw that guy. 100%.
Oh.
You guys, okay, this is my question for listeners. Google Rodney Alcala and tell us if he is hot as hell. Wow. There's a movie about it.
Oh, of course. 'Cause it's-
Guillermo Diaz previews getting into the mind of Rodney Alcala for The Dating Game Killer.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if it's out.
5 out of 10 stars on
That's-
IMDb.
That's pretty grim. I'll watch it anyways.
Yeah.
We should do an episode on The Dating Game Killer.
Yeah. I'm into
Fun.
this.
What? I'm so glad we got into this. Okay, Robert Abel. An article in Texas Monthly from 1999 says, lawmen think the retired NASA engineer could be responsible for the deaths or disappearances of several young women who lived in the coastal plain between Houston and Galveston. There's only one problem. They don't got enough evidence to arrest them. In fact, they don't have any.
They got none.
Yeah, they got none. So why do we think Robert Abel is guilty? One of the victims' fathers, Tim Miller, whose daughter Laura Miller was found murdered, became determined to find the killer. I feel like it's always vigilantes who end up finding the killer.
Yeah, yeah.
In 1986, 16-year-old Laura went to a parking lot to call her boyfriend because the Millers just moved to League City and they didn't have a phone at home. But she never returned home that night. Laura suffered from epilepsy. Who among us don't? So when she did not return home on time, her parents first called the nearest hospitals. Then Tim and Janet went to the police, but the police suggested that maybe she ran home or killed herself. That's like so...
That's such a police thing to do.
If the police were like, she probably killed herself, that's
Yeah,
so intense.
crazy.
That's so mean.
Yeah.
None of the investigators noticed that about 11 months before Laura disappeared, another woman had disappeared from that same parking lot. It was Heidi Fye, the one whose head was found in the dog's mouth.
Yeah.
Tim, I could have probably phrased that more.
Whose head was found in the dog's
I
mouth.
Probably could have phrased that better. Tim Miller was adamant about connecting these murders, but it took the police years to finally take him seriously.
Yeah, they like did not believe. They're like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, she probably killed herself.
Yeah.
She's a woman. She's
Yeah.
hysterical. They started looking into 6-year-old Robert Abel, a former NASA engineer who owned a ranch near the oil fields. He helped create the Saturn series of rockets that sent Apollo teams to the moon. When the police first came to him with questions, he was very enthusiastically interested in the details of the investigation, offering to help as much as possible, and he lent a search team of horses.
Yeah, from his ranch.
Great.
So he was all about helping out.
Yeah.
But his behavior was suspicious. So the police detective said Abel is a serial sexual offender who displays the kind of rage and violent behavior that's often seen in serial killers.
Oh, yeah, because this is the guy his ex said that he beat his horses.
Yes.
He used to
Yes.
beat his horses with a pipe.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Robert's third former wife contacted the lead investigator and said that Robert had an anger issue.
Yeah.
She saw him beat horses. One of Robert's other wives broke up with him only after 41 days of marriage because he was furious with her for not wanting to have sex.
Oof.
He said to her, "If you ever deny me sex again, I'll kill you."
Maria, you've said that, right?
Once or twice.
Yeah, just a few times. So the FBI conducted a psychological profiling test and concluded that he was likely to be a serial killer. So the FBI got a search warrant for his house and his ranch, and they brought in cadaver dogs to search for bodies, but nothing tied him to the crime scenes. Tim Miller, however, was still convinced he was a murderer. So he basically stalked him for years. He sat outside his house. He even dug up his ranch to look for bodies. He was convinced that this was the guy who killed his daughter. And so people in the community would call him a killer and they would harass him. This guy, Robert, he eventually committed suicide in 2005 because he would have like ranch tours, I believe. That was his, and he wasn't getting any business because
Well, right.
Tim Miller was like, "You're a murderer. you killed my daughter. And so he was just like going deeper into debt. Eventually, I mean, there's no evidence that ties this guy to the crime.
Yeah, he could have just been a weird sex offender or whatever.
Tim Miller eventually went to him and apologized.
Oh,
and
really?
Was like, I'm sorry that I have done this to you. This was like...
I ruined your life.
Yeah, right
whatever.
before he committed suicide.
Oh, God.
And so this guy, Tim Miller, he founded a nonprofit search organization, which is called the Texas EquiSearch, to search for missing people. And so far, the volunteers have found more than 400 people and about 238 bodies.
Holy shit.
So this guy, Tim Miller, he eventually, turned his obsession into something good. But him, like, accusing this Robert guy was, like, kind of a shitty thing to do.
Yeah, without any real evidence.
Because there's zero evidence.
Do you guys, I just sent you a test. Do you want to take it?
A test?
Yeah, it's
Is it MIS? Oh, no.
Could you be a killer? Okay. 1. How applicable is the following statement to you? 1. I am smooth, engaging, charming, and charismatic.
Yes.
Not shy or self-conscious. I speak as if I know what I'm talking about. I don't wait my turn to speak either. Not at all. It's sometimes the case, perfectly described. I'm going to say it's sometimes the case.
I would say it's sometimes the case.
How applicable is this statement? I am extraordinary, simply superior to most people, and I don't mind making others aware of this fact.
Perfectly describes me.
I'm going to say not at all.
I'm going to say not at all.
Yeah, not at all.
I get bored easily, but taking risks makes me feel alive. If a project is dull, I often don't complete it.
Yes.
Interesting. I'm going to say it's
sometimes the case.
Bored easily, but I'm going to say perfectly describes.
I'm always bored.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I like taking risks.
I'm doing it by myself over here, and I have a feeling
I'm doing it so the listeners can play along. I lie to make life a bit easier. I can be unscrupulous, cunning, and even downright deceitful. No.
Sometimes the case.
I cheat people out of stuff, and I don't feel bad about it.
No.
Not at all. I think like before I got sober, some of these maybe.
Sure.
I don't often feel guilty. When people have it coming to them, I don't feel bad at all when they are hurt. I don't really connect with people or feel close to them. And if somebody gets offended, I don't care at all. I agree. I don't really connect with people. I don't feel close to people really, but I also do care if people get offended.
So maybe it's a sometimes.
Sometimes. Okay. I freeload if I can. I get people to pay for me.
Oh,
yes.
No.
100%.
That is, I did take a free coffee and that $8. Sometimes
I think I do owe Maria like $20 for coffee.
I can't wait. I get impatient and irritated when things don't happen fast or the way I want it.
Perfectly describes me.
Yeah, sometimes the case. Sex is no big deal. I go from one relationship to another easily and have had more than one relationship at the same time. In fact, I like to bed as many people as possible.
I'm too lazy for that. Not at all.
Yeah, I don't have long-term goals. I'm not sure what I want to do with my life.
Perfectly describes me.
I get tempted real easy. I'm impulsive and take risks.
I'd say I'm gonna do a sometimes.
Yeah. My work is often sloppy. I'm often late to work and I break promises. Honestly, sometimes the case. Sorry.
Oh my God, I just got my score.
Oh my God, are you a killer? Okay, let's all reveal the scores at the same time. I try and avoid responsibility and problems are rarely my fault. Even better if I can shift responsibility onto others. When I was a teenager, I committed crimes. I was a bully at school.
Were you a bully, Allie?
I don't think so. Other people might. I once had to go to the principal because I called a girl Queen Laquifa.
Oh. Queen Laquifa.
Oh, because like a queef?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's it. I have committed many kinds of crimes. Well, okay, this is getting weirder by the second. You scored a 10. Oh. I would not hurt a fly.
I got an 8. I wouldn't hurt a fly either.
Oh, good. Uh-oh, Melissa, what did you get?
Sorry, I had to reload my webpage. It's
sure.
I got the. Yeah. I don't know what mine. Weird. I don't know what mine is.
Computer crashed.
If you score over 30, you would have matched you with a profile of a person that suffers from psychopathy.
Corona.
You don't sneeze when you have coronavirus because it's like a flu.
Oh, well then.
So sneeze all you want.
I had 100-degree fever for one day, which is why I had to cancel, but then it went away.
Fun.
Yeah, but if you have corona, I heard it's like 103.
Oh, okay.
It's way higher. But I did have flu symptoms and then I had 100-degree fever. but it went away.
Okay, well, good to know now that we're trapped in this room with you.
I canceled.
Yeah.
But then I uncanceled.
Why this stops loading after question 13 for me?
Melissa allegedly can't take the test.
I get the little wheel of the
Sure.
wheel.
Okay. But Maria and I wouldn't hurt a fly. Okay, so should we get back to it then, I guess? So then Mark Rowlands, who's this other dude who is in prison, confesses to some murders. This is from USA Today. A Texas prisoner has admitted to killing one of the women whose body was dumped in the killing fields. Mark Roland Stallings tells what happens 25 years ago. I'd walk right out and point straight to where she was, Stallings says. You knew from the moment you picked her up? Stallings says, exactly. When I picked her up, I knew what I was going to do. Stallings picked up a young woman on Telephone Road near Interstate 610. He described her as trashed, wasted, skin barely over her bones, emotionally gone. He said they went to the motel and did drugs. I ended up getting the seatbelt and hit her in the head with the seat buckle and then wrapped the seatbelt over her neck and choked her out.
Jesus.
Yeah. The decomposed body was found months later in 1991. They were never able to identify the woman, known as Janet Doe. So yeah, this guy just confessed in prison to one of the killings.
It's weird because that seems like a common thing to do.
Yeah, once you're in prison, just confess to more stuff.
Because I think if you're like a serial killer and you're in prison, like you're obsessed with your ego and like, yeah, I killed this person. You just want to take responsibility for it to like seem cool or whatever.
I think it could be like one of two things. Well, he seems to kind of be boasting.
Yeah.
But maybe it's either like you are boasting or it's that you want to clear your conscience. And you're like, I did this, I did this, I did this, you know.
Yeah.
Or you want to get attention, or you'll get some sort of plea deal or something. Or not plea deals. If you say like, I can tell you all this stuff if you want to know.
Yeah, maybe.
Who knows?
So some theories. Obviously, these are all different serial killers, and they're all dumping these women here.
Mm-hmm.
I read an article that made a good note that it's not something new to dump bodies by a freeway.
Yeah, that seems like a pretty common thing, especially with the mob. They just dump bodies like...
There's more bodies dumped on next to freeways in Los Angeles than there are on the Texas killing fields.
But in that small amount of... Like, because isn't it just like a small portion?
Like 25 miles, like
I don't
square
know.
miles.
I read that like in the serial killer, in the height of serial killers with like Richard Ramirez and stuff, that they were finding, I don't know, it's probably not over the same like span of time and maybe condensed area, but that they found more bodies next to freeways in Los Angeles probably than.
That's interesting.
So cold in here.
Isn't it? It is. It's freezing outside.
It is cold.
It's like winter outside.
It's really cold. Another idea I have is just that the marshland, it's easy for bodies to decompose and not be found.
Sure,
which we talked about.
Yeah, because it's wet. The bodies will just, you can't identify them. I mean, because it took so long to identify the bodies.
Yeah,
that by that time the killer can get away with it.
What draws all these people to kill in this area?
I think it's a passing. It's out in the middle of nowhere, and it's where people can get on the road right away and drive out of town.
Oh, it's close to Mexico, right?
Is it?
It's southeast Texas. They can just dump it and go across the border and be gone forever.
What was the thing you call it? It was the program.
The program. Well, it's not. See, it's actually not close to Mexico.
It's not?
Because it's the way I said that was so funny.
Melissa, it's actually...
it's not. I didn't want to say this, but actually it's not close to Mexico. Because the I-95, is that what road it is? Or 45? The 45. It goes, Galveston is right on the ocean.
Oh, Galveston's on the ocean.
On the Gulf of Mexico. And so you'd have to go west quite a ways to even get to Mexico.
You'd have to double back and go, all the way down to Corpus Christi. Okay.
But
Damn, Texas is big. Sorry.
It's huge. Damn, Texas is big. Maybe it was MK Ultra.
He says there's a video of him being interviewed where he's like, if I'm lying to you about this program, that I'm crazy, and I'll tell you that right now, but this is true, that I was brainwashed with this program.
What year was he again?
I scored a 15.
No, you did not.
Yeah, he did.
Does it say you wouldn't hurt a fly? What does it say? Does it say you would hurt a fly?
No, it says she's mostly normal.
Broadly normal. What did you guys score?
I got an 8.
I got a 10.
Oh, God. Broadly normal.
I think that's cool, Melissa.
There was on Curb Your Enthusiasm, Larry David said something really funny. How he
What if that's where your sentence ended?
he was talking to someone about wanting to kill people, and he was like, you don't have the mind of a killer. I have the mind of a killer. I just want to kill people all the time. Like, you don't think like that. I was like, yeah, that's me.
I think about killing people all the time.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
Maybe we were lying on taking a test.
Yeah, you guys were lying.
Well, but it's when they do something annoying.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not like I just sit there thinking about it. It's just like I look at certain people and I go, honestly, would anyone miss you?
Would anyone miss you?
Would anyone miss you? Yeah.
Who would know you're gone? When was the program guy? When did he kill?
Was that Edward Harold Bell between 1971 and 1977?
Well, MK Ultra was quote unquote ended in 1973, so maybe it was under MK Ultra.
Yeah, all the murders started in 1971.
Brainwashing in the 70s.
Well, because the Unabomber was part of the MK Ultra.
Okay, so maybe it was CIA programming. CIA Texas. Wait, what? Oh, that's the Culinary Institute of America. I was like, they're being really open, and it seems like anyone can join. What does CIA stand for?
Central Intelligence Agency.
Well, okay. I was just testing. Central Intelligence Agency, Texas. Okay. Requirements for CIA jobs in Texas. Requirements for joining the CIA. You only have to have a GPA of 3.0 or higher.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
I could join. Do you know I have these dreams sometimes that I forgot that I actually failed one of my courses, or like I didn't go to a whole class, and then I find out like now that I actually didn't graduate college.
That's a recurring dream you have?
Yeah.
I have a recurring dream that I'm in college and I'm failing, or I realize I have to do a huge project that I can never get done in time.
I have a dream that I'm in college and I stop going and I never get the credits. Oh, wait, no, that's real life.
That's real life. Okay, well, maybe it was MK Ultra. I'm like trying to find CIA stuff, but
I mean, it was around the same time.
Yeah.
One of my theories is that it's Robert Durst.
Tell me more.
Because he was in Galveston in the 70s.
Okay.
And he murdered, remember that guy, his neighbor / friend that he murdered and he dismembered?
Yes.
And he threw the torso into the Galveston Bay.
Yes.
And we all know Robert Durst is... Did you know, we've all seen the Robert Durst, the documentary?
You're supposed to cough into your elbow, not your hand.
Here's what Allie just did. Allie coughed into her hands and then looked at me as to tell me that what she just did was wrong, but she directed it at me, like I did it.
I have a hand wipe.
We've got disinfectant wipes here. Okay, but we've all seen the Robert Durst documentary.
Yeah.
Where at the end, he's like, what? Talking to himself. He's like, I killed them all, of course.
Yeah.
You know that was edited?
What do you mean?
He didn't say that. He
do you
didn't
mean?
say that. He said those words, but not in that context.
Oh, those
He
liars.
said the
He
actual...
was talking about crushing a bag of Doritos.
Yeah, actually, yeah. He said, I don't know what you expected to get. I don't know what's in the house. Oh, I want this. I killed them all, of course. I want to do something new. There's nothing new about that. He was right.
Can you do that?
Yeah, that's what documentarians do all the time now.
Yeah, he's like, he was right. I was wrong. The burping, I'm having difficulty with the question, what the hell did I do? So they took what he said is, what the hell did I do? Kill them all, of course. They switched those. He
That's
was talking
so
to
fucked.
himself like, oh, what do they want me to say? I killed them all, of course.
That's fucked up, dude.
Yeah, they edited the what the hell did I do? Killed them all, of course.
Oh my God. We
So
should be
he's-
Robert Durst truthers here.
Yeah.
I mean, he for sure killed.
This is your number one pro Robert Durst podcast.
No,
I mean,
Allie.
he admitted to dismembering that dude's body.
Robert Durst.
No,
Robert Durst.
no,
His trial
Justice for Durst.
is currently
Justice for
happening,
Durst.
right?
Beverly Hills.
Beverly with an E.
Oh my God. I have a real
The
problem
jinx.
with Craig and I both have problems with modern documentaries because
Yeah.
all of the documentarians, or not all, but a lot of them insert themselves.
Oh,
Yes.
so much.
Where it's like I was turning 27 and I decided that I'd never gotten to know, and it's like stop inserting yourself. Every documentarian wants to be the star of their own documentary.
Did you
now.
see the one about like the magician? What was that one about the magician who like does crack?
No.
What? No. No.
Yes,
I'm
you did.
interested.
Was it another one where it was like the documentarian like
It's all, and it ended up being just entirely about them.
oh, it's so
Crack.
stop. I only want to see a documentary
The
if you
Amazing
have like,
Jonathan.
Oh my God, yes.
yes.
Oh, yes, the magician who does crack. Yes, I watched that.
And it ended up just being totally about the documentarian.
Yes.
It was
I
horrible.
hate that. It should you should
Yes.
have footage. If you don't have like capturing the Friedman's footage, then
oh.
I don't
Not
I don't know
into
what
it.
you're doing.
I love capturing the Friedmans.
It's
Like
so
if you
good.
don't have
good.
that kind of footage, what are you doing?
yeah. If someone in the family isn't a party clown, get out.
Yeah. That's a great quote.
Get out.
Get
Get
out.
out. Yeah, man. So, anyways, to sum it all up, a lot of people were murdered. It was bad. It all happened in this field.
Why do you think it stopped?
That's a good question.
Well, maybe because what's his face? Edward Harold Bell is in prison and he died. And then the other suspect, William Lewis Reese, another suspect, he went to jail for killing one of them.
Can I ask you guys something?
It wasn't me.
yes.
Why do you think that
Oh, God. Here we go.
Why do you think that come the mid 90s, early 2000s, all of a sudden there's a drop in the serial killer market, celebrity serial killers?
I think the satanic panic kind of thing ended. I think there was a big in the 70s and 80s. There was a big like satanic panic, glorifying murder, weird thing going on, and then it kind of subsided.
Because we don't really glorify serial killers.
Yes, we do.
As much as we used to.
I don't like Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy, Richard Ramirez. I mean, not so much John Wayne Gacy, but I think like Ted Bundy, Richard Ramirez, people were like, I want to have sex with them. OJ's.
I like how Allie's in her mind going, well, not so much John Wayne Gacy, but
Richard Ramirez,
he
Ted
was
Bundy.
a really good artist.
Jeffrey Dahmer.
No, but seriously, but like, think about it, like OJ Simpson, although he wasn't really a serial killer, we're not as much like sexually
But there's no like the Hollywood hangman or something like that.
like
there's
the Zodiac.
Yeah, there's like not these things where like they're sending in riddles to the newspaper and
Well, I think
stuff.
because people are getting caught sooner now.
Yeah.
That is true.
maybe.
Maybe that's it.
You know, with cell phones.
I
Well,
think
the
that there
reason
probably are though, but it's just not as big news because maybe it's the opposite. Maybe there is that, but there's just so much of it that it's not being publicized.
I think if there was like a Hollywood hangman, and I'm copywriting that term.
If you want to be the Hollywood hangman, you gotta email Maria Irios.
If there was a Hollywood hangman, like people would be enthralled by a story like that.
Yeah.
But there just isn't anymore.
Well, because the reason Ted Bundy was able to get away
maybe
with
that's a
murders
void
is-
you can fill.
Yeah.
I don't want to fill it. I don't want people to die. I don't want there to be murder.
Melissa can fill it.
Yeah, I got scored
She's
15.
broadly normal.
I have the mind of a killer.
But I just think it's interesting that there was this time. I mean, all the way back to
Yeah.
like Jack the Ripper and stuff. And it's like now there's just there's like not that lore behind killers.
Well, maybe people can find fame in different ways now because there's the internet.
They can just
so
be
maybe
YouTube
or
stars.
podcasters.
Yeah, so maybe people who wanted to get fame, they could only find like sociopaths could only find fame through murder.
Like if Logan Paul or Jake Paul were not famous,
They didn't have the
YouTubers,
YouTube outlet.
They'd be murderers.
They'd be
because they're
murderers.
psychopaths.
That's
Yeah.
such a good point.
Yeah.
that
Allegedly.
I made, and then everyone else piggybacked on.
Okay.
Do you also think that it's something where like now people can just search the internet and like get their rocks off on things that they don't have to like there's not this as much repression as to like
it's like that weird kitten documentary.
Oh,
Don't kill kittens or
don't fuck with cats.
Don't fuck with cats.
Yeah.
Did he kill? Yeah, he did kill. He ended up killing
now
someone.
there's like mass shootings, not serial killers.
Right.
Well, because have we found the Zodiac killer yet?
Yeah, it's Ted Cruz.
Oh yeah, it's Ted Cruz.
He ate a booger.
Do you know that Ted Cruz is self-quarantining?
Yeah, what does
because
that even
he
mean?
shook the hand of a guy who tested positive for coronavirus.
I probably have corona.
I would self-quarantine. I will.
I live my life like I'm self-quarantined
Yeah.
anyway.
You know, he ate a booger.
Yeah, of course he did.
He also posted porn. Oh, I can't even look at the eating.
Oh
booger
yeah,
thing.
he
It makes me
accidentally
gag.
tweeted.
No, I don't want to see that.
I'm not Googling that.
I honestly, that really
Don't
made
look
me
at
nauseous.
it.
I know. I had to close it.
Ew.
Did you Google it?
No, I'm not Googling
No
that.
one else wants to see that.
Google Ted Cruz eat booger.
No.
And then go to images.
I'm not doing it.
It was during the debate. A little booger went on his lip and then he licked it off.
I don't want to know.
It's really gross.
God.
That really just not. That's gonna like stick in my brain all day. It's just why did that rumor even start?
Well, because he is, probably.
I think we could probably end on that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you have any theories about Melissa brought up a good point. Where did all the serial killers go?
Maria brought up a good point.
Jeez.
I am touching my face constantly.
I touch my face 10,000 times a day.
Yeah, it's bad.
I can't stop.
I just
never
did
touch
it.
my face.
Oh
Okay,
man, good for
well,
you.
great.
Okay, so where you know that song where
Where
Where's
did
the
all the
love?
cowboys go?
Yes, where have all the cowboys gone? But with serial killers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, you get me ready in your 56 Chevy. I don't think I'll sit down in the shade.
Where
yeah.
did all the serial killers go?
Yeah.
It's an interesting question. I wonder if probably someone's done a thesis on it or something.
Yeah, so if you know
send
any
us your
information.
thesis.
Yes. Melissa, where can people reach us?
You can email your thesis to webcrawlerspod@gmail.com
Yes.
or send us a message on Twitter or Instagram.
or leave us a voicemail.
Leave us a voicemail
Yeah.
at
626-604-6262. Bye.
Bye.
An Erios original.
Powered by Acast.